freeze.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Truth and Rhythm, brought to you by funkandstuff.net. This is the interview show that gets deep in the pocket with contemporary music's foremost masters of the groove. I'm your host, Scott Dr. Jigs Goldfine, musicologist and author of Everything's on the One, the First Guide to Funk. If you don't have your copy, get on over to Amazon and pick one up. You'll be so glad you did. Whether you're watching the video version of this at funkandstuff.net or on YouTube, or listening to the audio-only podcast version from providers like iTunes and Spotify, as always, I thank you so much for your continued interest and support in the show. Speaking of which, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Funk and Stuff channel on YouTube. That's where Truth and Rhythm lives. All kinds of goodies. You'll get early premieres, and it's all free, so make sure you sign up. Tell a friend, tell family. Also, get your official Truth and Rhythm and Funk and Stuff gear at the funkandstuff.net store. Cool stuff like I'm wearing right here. Truth and Rhythm shirts. Show your support and love of the show and also the musicians and the music that they represent. Also want to give a shout out to the Funk Exhibition Center and Hall of Fame in Dayton, Ohio, of which I'm very proud to be an official funk ambassador. Go to thefunkcenter.org to learn more and keep the funk alive. And now, with all that, it's time to get on with the show. Enjoy. I am pleased to welcome to the Truth and Rhythm Mothership Saxophonist Greg Thomas, a member of the P-Funk Horns who has spent more than 40 years recording and performing with George Clinton and Parliament-Funkadelic, as well as many other famous artists. Notably, he's also the longtime featured vocalist on stage for P-Funk's monster classic, Not Just Knee Deep. Greg, what's going on?
Hey,
how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Scott?
I'm good.
How's
Welcome
everybody?
to the show.
Great, man.
Yeah. So we were talking, and you're coming to us from New Orleans, right?
New Orleans, yeah.
And that's home?
Yeah, man. Mardi Gras. Los Angeles.
Yeah. So when was Fat Tuesday? Has that happened already, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Last week?
Yeah. Tuesday.
Yeah, last Tuesday. Never. I've been there. I've been there a number of times, but never for Mardi Gras.
Yeah, it's fun, man. Fun time. Fun time. Yeah, well, man.
Good to see you survived another one.
Yeah.
So New Orleans is home, right? For a while for you, or?
Well, we got a couple things lined up in LA and Florida coming up in early March. And then we're going to fill in some dates in March and April and keep touring. But at first he was going to stop, but he decided he wanted to keep going. Mr. Clinton.
Yeah, it got too good again, I think, right?
Yeah. He can't stay off stage. It's too good.
Well, we don't want him to, that's for sure.
Right. Yeah, man.
So, but Greg, home for you is where?
Home for me is Los Angeles.
Okay. And how long have you lived there?
Oh, 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
BMO. Yeah.
Yeah, you're part of that BMO contingency, right? That came up as like a next generation of P-Funk.
Yep. Yeah, man. Yeah.
How'd you first get into music and playing horns?
Well, my father was a clarinetist, saxophone player, so me and my brother used to watch him and we got started in grade school, and we played, through grade school, all through college, and on to now. My brother's a saxophonist also, Joseph Thomas, Jr.
Does he play more jazz, or what was his?
He plays blues and R&B. Yeah. Yeah. And I try to cover the whole gambit, whatever the party calls for, Jazz, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, Yeah.
Have horn will travel.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
So what was your experiences, performing before you connected with P-Funk?
Well, like I said, I started playing in grade school, and I started performing in bands around 11. Me and my brother, and my father used to manage us, so we used to play all over the city and all over the state of Maryland, and even Jersey and things like that. When I was younger, so I've been playing in bands since 11 years old.
Wow. And did you have any professional experience before the Parliament Connection?
Well, I consider professional experience when you make money playing music. I was doing that at 11 and 12, so that's professional experience. We played cabarets, parties, things of that sort.
Were you playing funk even then, or more?
We were playing a little bit of everything. We were playing pop, R&B, everything, jazz. Yeah.
And so, were you friends and playing with people like Benny and Greg, and before you actually got with P-Funk?
Well, me and Benny went to the same elementary school, and then we went to the same junior high school. Back then they called it junior high, not middle school.
Right.
So we went from 7 to 9, then we went to high school in 10th grade. I went to Baltimore Polytechnic Institute, which was a engineering school, and Benny went to the school for the arts, Douglas High School. So we took separate paths in high school, and then he went off to college, and I went off to college. I went to Coppin State College in Baltimore. I have a degree, a bachelor's in chemistry.
Wow.
And so I went to school and got my degree, and when I came out of school, I got a job working for the Department of Water Resources in Annapolis, Maryland, and I did that all the while I was still playing in bands, local groups and things of that sort. Me and my brother played together for a long time. And after working, I stopped doing that, and then I started teaching school. I taught 8th grade science for a little while. Then after that, I got called to play the funk. So me and Benny had a group, and Greg Boyer, we had a group. So that group we had broke up. So we got a call from my bass player friend that played with me in Baltimore, Rodney Skeet Curtis. So he played with P-Funk first, and they had an opening. So he called me up and he said, "Greg, we're gonna need some horns. So this is what I want you to learn, all of this stuff." So we learned all the music, and then we did an audition, and they called us after that. This was in March of '78. Yeah.
So you also play flute, right? And what else?
I'll play all the woodwinds, flute, little flute, oboe, clarinet, all the saxes. Yeah.
And who are your big influences? The usual suspects like Maceo and guys like
Yeah,
that?
the usual cats, Cannonball, Adderley, Parker, Coltrane, Maceo, yeah. Those guys, King Curtis.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first like P-Funk song that you had to get through in order to show that you had the chops?
I guess the Mothership Connection. Yeah, we had to learn a whole set of stuff. You know, Skeet gave us a list of tunes. He just said, "Be ready. No, this," and we had about 2 weeks to learn everything. So we got in the shed, me, Greg, and Benny, and we rehearsed and learned the stuff. And then we went and did an audition. They came to Baltimore. We did an audition in the hotel room. Back there then, we were rehearsing in the rooms, in the hotel rooms. The guys would bring the little pig nose amps, and the drummer would beat on the telephone book. You know, that was a long time ago, telephone book.
Right.
Yeah, and the singers would come in. Everybody would get in the hotel room and jam. So that's how we did the audition.
Wow. And was the audition for
For P-Funk.
yeah, but who was the main person? Like, was it Fred or Maceo or George or?
No, Fred and Maceo were doing Bootsy at the time. So Bootsy was doing his thing. So it was a void in the horn. So that's why we got the call. P-Funk needed somebody to play horns. Fred and Maceo and them were busy with Bootsy.
Yeah.
So we had to come fill the void.
But Greg, who did you actually audition in front of for?
We auditioned in front of the whole band at a rehearsal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Bernie Worrell was there, and Michael Hampton was there. All the guys were there. George wasn't there. The road manager was there.
Gary
So
Scheider.
everybody, they liked what we were doing. Gary Scheider was there. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you nervous?
No. No, because when you've been doing it all your life, what's to be nervous about?
How big of a fan were you before, getting the gig?
Big fan. I had a lot of the records, not all the records, but I had a lot of the records. And in our local band, we used to play a couple of Parliament songs, so we were familiar with the stuff, Yeah.
And had you seen the Mothership or any of those shows before?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we went to the local venue in Baltimore at the time was the Baltimore Civic Center. And we went there to see them, and we saw the ship land and all of that. It was amazing. Yeah.
Blew your mind?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what was the first gig that you played with them?
Oh, the first gig I think was Huntsville, Alabama. Yeah, it was in March of '78.
March of '78. So you're playing the like Funkadelic stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, man. It was good stuff.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's your Funkadelic right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So those shows were like marathons, though, man. Were your lips up to the task, or you had to get some endurance up?
Oh no. Well, like I said, I've been playing for a long time, so it's just natural to do what we do. Now you might ask that question of the brass player, Benny and Greg. Their lips get a little more tireder, if that's a word, more stressed than a saxophone player. So, but back then they were young and full of energy. They were playing all kind of notes back then. They still do.
Yeah, I remember, especially Greg was always like all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, he's playing with Maceo Parker right now.
Yeah.
Him and Rodney Skeet Curtis. They're playing with Maceo right now.
Wow, that's a nice little band right there.
Yeah.
So I think you were at the I was at the show at the Starwood in 1978, I think it was, with the Bride's like first show in
Yeah.
that like tiny hot box, awesome show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'll never
Yeah.
forget that. The anti-tour.
Yeah. 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 Yep. That was. Oof. It was a sweat house.
But blew me away, man. I was on a funk high for that whole week.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know what you mean, man. We had a good time with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what were your impressions of some of those guys, though, that were in the band that you first got to know? You know, getting to know Bernie and George and those
Wow.
guys. What stood out to you?
Well, it was just amazing to see Bernie's expertise, and the way he could hear all the things. And then when he heard us, he liked what we were doing. He didn't really have to say much because we had all the voicings correct and, things of that sort. But it was great to see him and great to see Gary Scheider, just his command of the stage and his vocal ability. And Michael Hampton, he was just phenomenal, you know. And Cordell Boogie, Mawson, all of those guys, great, man. Jerome Braley, great.
Guys,
And the
all-star
the
band.
ladies, the vocals were really tight, I started singing, I was playing at first, but I couldn't just play. I had to sing a little too. When they found out I could sing, then they kind of said, go ahead, do your thing.
Did you start out doing the Felipe Win thing, or
No, Felipe Wynn started out doing it, and then he was with us for a while after the Spinners thing, and George produced his record. I think it was called Windjamming.
Mhm.
Yeah, George produced his record, and George asked him to come out on the road with us, and he had recorded Knee Deep in the studio with us, so George naturally asked him to come out, and he came out, and we had a good time. He did the Knee Deep thing, and then he did a couple of songs from his, some of his hits, Sadie and things of that sort. And I remember the guys didn't really want to play bass on his stuff because it was doo-wop. I don't know. So anyway, I played bass and keyboard, so I jumped up and played bass on when he did Sadie.
Oh yeah.
I played bass. I said it just enhances my stuff when I can do different things. So I went and played bass on that, and he did a couple other songs. Yeah. But it was really fun working with Felipe.
When was the first time though that you stepped up to do that part on stage? Do you remember?
Oh, wow. It was a while ago. I don't remember, but I think I was fooling around at a rehearsal and I did it and they liked it. And George said, come on. From then on, he allowed me to do it. And that's one thing I like about George. He's not afraid to share the stage with the rest of the guys. How you have some artists, it's their group, and it's about just them. That's never been with George. He's always shared the stage, with the other artists. And if he saw talent, he would like to let them show their abilities, That's a good thing about George.
I think I first saw you doing it back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Long time.
Yeah.
Long time.
Do you remember what was the first recording that you got to be on with P-Funk?
Oh, probably some Parlet stuff. More Rump the Bump and a couple other things, and we did a lot of stuff. Party People. We did Big Bang Theory. We did a lot of different things.
Yeah,
I'd have to look back and see, but we did so much stuff. And we were always in the studio, so it's like they would call us in, we'd do some things, and then sometimes you wouldn't hear the song for a while, and then later you say, "Oh, we're doing this on the Brides for Funkenstein, or we're doing this on Parlay, or we're doing this on P-Funk," you know. So we did a stockpile of songs. Yeah.
Were you typically just the horn section listening to tracks and playing, or who would usually be in the studio with you guys?
Well, usually he would be in there, and if he wanted us to arrange something, you know, we would get together and arrange it. You know, I would do some arrangements. Greg Boyer would do some arrangements. Benny Cowan would do some arrangements. You know, we all worked together and made it work out. We did, you know, we worked real well together.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And who decided you would just call it the P-Funk Horns? Was that?
Well, you know, the horn sections they had before had names. You know, they had the horny horns and they had the corny horns, and then so it's just easier, the P-Funk horns. You know, that's what we decided, and that's what we went with.
Did you guys consciously try to do anything distinctive or different from, say, the horny horns, so it would seem like you had your own sound?
Well, we did have our own sound, but the horny horns was four horns. Rick Gardner, Rick Gardner played trumpet, Cush Griffith played trumpet, Maceo played sax, and Fred played trombone. So that was four horns. So you can do more with four horns. And P-Funk horns was three horns. Benny Cowan on trumpet, myself, Greg Thomas on sax, and Greg Boyer on trombone. So we made it work with the three. And now, playing it forward, it's just two of us, myself and Benny Cowan. So we do it with us, just us two.
Yeah, you've been doing it just two for a while now. Greg left how many years ago now?
Yeah, about 10, 12 years ago. So I don't know specifically, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that more challenging to just do it with the two?
Well, it wasn't that much of a challenge. I just had to change the voicings. You know, I had to change the voicings to fill up the section. So usually Benny would play the higher note and I'd play the lower note. And that makes the section sound full.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So me and him sound like three or four because of the way we voice the horns.
What about, do you have like Danny fill in at all on keys to kind of help beef it up at all?
No, not too much. He sticks to what he does, and that's kind of a pet peeve of mine. Keyboard players trying to play horn parts, they never get it right, and they don't enunciate. They don't enunciate the way we do.
Right. Yeah.
I always tell them, stay in your lane. You play the chords. Let us do what we do.
That was like the whole thing of the wave of the 80s, you know, in with the synths and out with the horns. And man, a lot of funk suffered because of that.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story. Me and Benny were playing with the Gap Band. And me, Benny, and my friend Steve Baxter, trombone, out of Los Angeles. And so we played with the Gap Band for a while, and then we had to go to Europe with P-Funk. So the Gap Band had a few dates, and we had more dates with George. So we went to play with P-Funk. When we came back, the Gap Band said, we don't need you no more. So they had four keyboard players anyway. So the keyboard players started playing the horn parts. I said, well, okay, good luck to you. Cool.
How long ago was that?
Oh, man. That was about at least 15 years ago.
I know I saw people like in the 80s, like the Ohio Players without horns. And I
Yeah,
was just like, oh man, come on.
yeah. Well, you got your horn bands and then you got your other bands. But keyboard horns always sound to me. Ah,
Yeah. I hate to see him go with Cameo too in the 80s.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We played with Cameo too.
What when you got into P Funk, I mean, it was still at its height,
Yeah.
from like 78 until 80, it was still at its peak, basically. Was there a show that stands out to you that, like, with the giant crowd or maybe overseas or something that you remember?
Uh, Soldier Field in '78. That was an enormous show. A lot of people, big crowd, amazing.
Was that like a funk festival type of show?
Yeah, it was at Soldier Field, Chicago.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, plenty of folks, big party. Yeah.
Does it make any difference to you playing wise, whether it's, what size the crowd is?
Say that again.
Do you adjust in any way depending on like how big of a venue it is, what you do?
Not really. I perform for the people. I give them eye contact, whether it's two people or 50,000. I just perform. You know, but that's because I started out so young performing. It's second nature to me. You know, performing. We've been doing it since we were pups.
How, how long have you had that sax right there?
Woo! Long time. I'm due to make a change maybe this year, but if it ain't broke, you know.
Did you have that one all the way back in the late 70s?
No, I was playing tenor in the late '70s. I switched over to alto years later. I think I can do more range-wise with the alto than the tenor.
Nothing to do with Greg's departure. You just made that switch.
Yeah, I made that switch. They didn't like it too much, but it was my choice, not theirs. Yeah.
So in the early 80s, things kind of started to slow down for P-Funk. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. What was your experience of that? Why did
Ooh.
things fall off, and how did that impact you?
Well, it affected me tremendously. Um, we were working, doing things, and it all started because of a mishap with Roger Troutman and the record companies. George was with Warner's and George was with Columbia. He had his own label, Uncle Jam Records. And something went on with the master tape. It disappeared. They thought George had something to do with it. So they blackballed the group. And we couldn't work. We went, he was in litigation for a while. We couldn't work for a couple of years. So, I had to go back and, work, get a regular job and, do other things. It impacted everybody. And when he came back, a solo deal with, I think, Capitol Records, George Clinton. And that's when it kind of picked back up. But it impacted everybody, hardship-wise.
Yeah, that was a terrible time for the fans too. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
So did you go play with other acts or just?
Oh, well, like I said, I've played with so many different acts. I've played with Evelyn King. Me and Benny played with the Gap Band. We played with Cameo. Played with a lot of different artists. Recorded with Peter Wolf from Jay Gow's band.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with James M. Toomey.
Mm-hmm.
The people that put out Juicy Fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and Benny played with Toomey for a while. We did a lot of things.
Yeah. So you brought a bit of that P to like different acts, which is.
Oh yeah.
That's a cool thing too. Yeah, I was looking at. I think I have it here, like some of the people you mentioned, but also Chuck Brown, the Soul Searchers.
Oh yeah, we played with Chuck. DC is home, Baltimore is home, but DC is home too, because I moved to DC in the '80s. So, I started playing with the go-go bands. First go-go band I played with was Clockwork. My man Jerry Wilder was a bass player, and Mousy Thompson played drums for the last James Brown band. So he had the group Clockwork, and I played with that group. And then from there, I met up with Chuck Brown, and Glenn Ellis was the bass player for Chuck Brown, and we hit it off. So I brought Greg and Benny into the Chuck Brown thing, and we played with Chuck off and on about 7 or 8 years in between the P-Funk stuff.
How was that experience for that band different from P-Funk?
Say that again?
How was that experience and band different from that of P-Funk?
Oh, well, go-go is, whoo, you got to hear it. Once you hear it, you know it. It's a specific beat. It varies a little, but it's just a street sound. It's a local street sound, and DC is known for it. And the people in Baltimore don't get it, but the people in DC get it. And it's just a good, fun time. It's a good, fun time.
Yeah, it's funny. So close geographically, but still separate on that.
So it's like 35 miles. Baltimore's 35 miles north of DC. They still don't get the go-go stuff, but
Yeah, it's funny because I remember when they were talking about go-go being like the next big thing in black music, and then it never really kind of got to where they thought it might get outside of DC. Yeah.
Well, it did a little bit. Chuck Brown did "Bustin' Loose." That was a pretty big record. And "We Need Money." And then another go-go group, EU, Experience Unlimited. Spike Lee put them in his movie. And and the big hit was "Doing the Butt."
Mm-hmm.
So the Butt was a big nationwide hit, because the movie was big. So that brought go-go kind of nationwide after Chuck had brought it a little bit. So that took it a little further. So people do recognize go-go. The go-go got so popular, it went across the water to Holland. One of our alumnus, Boogie Marson, bass player, guitar player, him and Clip Payne produced a group in Holland called Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And Gotcha was a go-go band. So, they learned all the go-go stuff from DC, and they brought it over to Holland, and they made it big over there.
Yeah. I remember I had a Trouble Funk record, too. I think that Bootsy appeared on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Big Tony and Trouble Funk.
Yeah, I'm hoping to have him on this show, actually, very soon, Big Tony.
Big Tony, yeah. Tell him Greg Thomas said hello.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, that's my man.
He actually he was going to come on, but he hurt his leg, so he's recovering right now.
Yeah, I saw he had posted on the internet, some things. We're praying for him.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So you also on here is Stanley Carter.
Oh yeah, yeah. We played on Stanley's album. Uh, I forget the name of that tune. You probably got it over there.
Well, the album's Time Exposure, but I'm not sure what track.
Yeah. Speedball.
Okay.
That's what it was called. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool working with Stanley.
How'd that connection happen?
Oh, I really don't even remember. I think somebody just called. I was doing a lot of stuff in New York, and I think somebody had contacted him to me. I forget how it happened, but they got in touch with me, and we did a session for him.
Were most of your gigs sort of just word of mouth, or did you have like a manager or somebody trying to get you work?
Uh, Depends on the period you're talking. Uh, from my childhood years, my father managed us. And then he stopped managing us, and then we started managing ourselves. Then when we got in college, high school and college, my brother's friend Herb Smith used to manage us, and we used to do things. Then when we got in college, me and Benny and Greg, we joined this other group. And we had different managers, and then we joined P-Funk. They had already their management, so that's how that worked. I haven't really had to, have a manager book shows, but like now, I book my own shows basically. I, I'm in New Orleans now. I play with a couple of bands down here, and when I'm not working with P-Funk, I'm all over.
Nationwide.
Yeah.
Also on here, this list of Stephanie Mills, Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. It did. Back in the day, I worked with them, Tume Lucas. They were producers. They produced Roberta Flack, Donny Hathaway, Back Together Again, until they produced a lot of things, and I would be an arranger. I wouldn't play. I would write the charts and go in and direct the union horn players.
Mhm.
So I did arrangements for like Stephanie Mills. I did a cut called Winter. I did a cut called Last Night. I did some stuff for the Spinners with Tume. I did a couple of things. For Mark Sedane was one of his artists. Did a lot of things, and some stuff for them Tume projects.
I think, when you talk about performing, composing, producing, arranging is the one that sort of doesn't get talked about as much, but it's so key, especially in funk, I think.
Yeah, yeah, it is. You gotta know what kind of feel you want, and you gotta know how to put it together. And you gotta keep your ear to the ground to see what's popping. And then you gotta be innovative and come up with your own stuff. Keep being creative. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you enjoy that almost as much as playing?
Oh well, I like playing mostly.
Yeah.
I really like that. Just performing for the folks.
Um, so Al Green, Ike Turner's on here.
Yeah, we one of my old friends that sang in my group. We had a local group. Me and Skeet and Dennis Chambers and my brother. We had a group called Uncle Remus, and we had the guy named Eban Kelly. He was one of our lead singers. He started doing some productions, and he got us hooked up with Al Green, and we did some stuff on Al Green's projects.
Was that before or after P-Funk?
During.
During.
Yeah.
So a little moonlighting happening.
Oh yeah. Well, like I've been with P-Funk 40 plus years, so a
Yeah.
lot in that's a wide span, so you got a lot of things in there.
Right.
Yeah.
I was looking at the credits, according to this, you only appeared on one of George's Capitol albums, or were you on other ones?
We were on stuff. I don't have everything in front of me. You probably would have to go to Discogs or something like that and look it up, But we're on so much stuff. It's
No, But like his Capitol records, it just shows that you're on only one of those solo records of his.
Yeah, well, we might have. I can't remember all of that stuff. I just know we were on a lot of stuff, and what George would do, he would cut stuff. We were always in the studio. He would cut stuff on different artists and on him, whether he wanted to use it for himself or another project. So music was stockpiled in the studio.
Yeah.
So he would go in and say, let me pull this off the shelf and listen to that. Okay, we'll put that out on blah, blah, blah. So, we were on a lot of stuff. The Horny Horns were on a lot of stuff. Some other Detroit musicians were on a lot of stuff. We did a lot of the recording at United Sound in Detroit. So we did a lot of things. Too many to remember.
Probably a lot that we still haven't heard, right?
Yeah. He's still got stuff on the shelf.
When did you get back full swing, in performing with them? Was it the late 80s, early 90s?
I think it was like 82, something like that. Yeah, we were defunct for about 2 years, and then things picked back up. Yeah.
So were you on that Atomic Dog tour?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was on all the tours.
Beverly Theater?
All the tours since the late 70s.
So that Beverly Theater show that came out later live, because I was at that show.
The Beverly Theater?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. That's a memorable one. People still play that. That's a lot of people's favorite CD, album.
Yeah.
Beverly Theater Live. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys blew the roof off that place.
Yeah. Prince showed up at that show backstage. He wouldn't talk. He gave one-word answers. I said, how you doing? Okay. I said, you gonna play? Maybe. He would never string a sentence, a complete sentence. He was a one-answer man, one-word answer. He was cool, though.
I think some people didn't even get that.
Yeah, he was backstage, trying to figure it out. Yeah, this was before he was really, Prince. He was,
He was taking notes, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And Bootsy came out, did a little cameo thing during that show. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I put that CD on it. Oh, man. Brings back memories.
Yeah, I think Ski told me it's his very favorite show or tour or whatever.
Yeah. I see why, because he was frying it up. He was playing a lot of stuff. He still is.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But during the 80s, so there was at some point there wasn't as many shows like after that, because like from 86 to 89, I know George didn't put out much in terms of records, and it just seemed like in the early 90s, P-Funk was like regularly just touring all the time again.
Yeah, well, things happen and you got to keep moving. He kept it moving. We went through the trials and tribulations and kept it going. But that's what I liked about what he did. He found people that were loyal to the group and and talented, and he stuck with those people. He didn't change a whole lot of people, like some groups, you look up, it's different people. you know, Although, we've changed over the years because some people have passed on and some people have done other things, but you got to keep it going. So you bring in, fresh talent, younger talent, and that's what we're doing now. We got the third generation P-Funk playing with us now. The granddaughters and the grandsons, and yeah.
That must be a trip to have seen that evolution firsthand like you have.
Yeah. It's good to, try different things. And, George has always been a trailblazer with that. But you got some of the old P-Funk kids, some of them don't like it, some of them like it. But, you gotta try new things, see what sticks, and that's what I like about George. He tries new things, and whatever it is, some fans like it, some fans don't. But you got to be true to who you are.
Well, some of the guys that came in along the way, have really come into their own, like, Danny Bedrosian or Garrett Scheider,
Right.
or Benzel and drums. These guys have stepped up and really evolved within the band.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I remember when Danny first came. He was a keyboard tech, and he came in, humble guy, but he always was a classical genius. He comes from classically trained parents. Mom and dad are classical piano teachers, so he's a virtuoso in his in his own right. And then he got to meet Bernie and work with Bernie and our other keyboard player at the time, Jerome Rogers. So he learned a lot, and then he was a tech, and then he eventually moved into one of the keyboard chairs. He did that well, and Benzel, that's Benny's son, the trumpet player's son. So I've seen him, when he was a little kid, when he was born, and I remember when he was like 16 or so, we played Woodstock '90, and he played at Woodstock with us. I could see then he was up and coming, and now he's a super drummer for us. We're glad to have him. Out of energy, and he never stops. And Garrett Scheider, that's Gary Scheider's son, saw him grow up too as a little kid, and now he's nice young man. He's got his own stuff going. He's doing quite well.
Yeah, I'm impressed with his 2 albums also.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, those threads though are still there to keep the continuity. So with like you and Benny and Lige and
Right.
And Blackbird.
Yeah, and Clip Payne and Mudbone.
And
Cooper.
Mudbone, yeah.
Yeah, we try to hold it down, Yeah, we hold it down. Yes, sir.
So, do you have a favorite? I'm thinking maybe you're going to say Knee Deep because you get to do your thing on that. But is there another like favorite track that you have to perform?
Well, I like Funkadelic when he calls it. I like Aqua Boogie when he calls it. I like the whole catalog. But you do have your favorites, So yeah, I like Maggot Brain.
Even
we
though
got
you just watched that
Blackbird
one?
McKnight. We got Blackbird McKnight playing that. He's doing it up. Eddie Hazel did a great job. Michael Hampton did a great job. Now we got Blackbird McKnight holding it down.
Do you ever get tired of playing any of those, like, Atomic Dogs and things like? You ever get tired of playing any of those?
Never get tired of playing it. As long as you have fans, you got to do you got to give the people what they want. The fans want to hear the hits. You got to give them the hits. And if you have new stuff, you can spring new stuff on them, but you got to throw the hits in there too, or they will not be satisfied. They'll tell you. And we've done some shows where, you know, our fans are spoiled. They so used to us doing two hours or more, and when they don't get it, they're upset. You know, like we did this one tour not too long last year, and they had like about 3 other acts on before us. So basically, we only got about an hour 15 to perform. So we had to, you know, cram all of those tunes. They put about 3 acts on before us. Might have been 4. And, you know, it was cool, but it wasn't cool for me, but I wasn't in control. So you just do your job. That's what you got to do. You do your job, and then you get off stage. But
I was at the show. Do you remember being in Greensboro?
Yeah, but like the people, you know, I always talk to the fans after the show, and they were like, "Yeah, it was cool, but we didn't hear this song. We didn't hear this song," because they used to hearing what we do. And when you have other groups on the show, it takes away from your time. So, you know, that's what happened. I didn't care.
I try to tell people too, especially a lot of those places have curfews. So
Yeah.
you guys can't go that late, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But between you and me, I just think they had too many acts on the show. You know, and it's not up to me. You got to do your job.
Yeah. The show I went to was actually in like I said, Greensboro. I took my son, who's 15. I told you play sax. That was his first P-Funk show.
Yeah. How did he like it?
He loved it. He was also he got to see Fishbone Galactic.
Right.
But I told him about
so
you because you're the alto sax player, you know, and you were actually, we were like in second row. You were right there.
Oh, cool. Yeah, but so you were there. You understand. It was just too many acts on the show.
Oh, definitely.
For us to give the fans really what we need to give them, you know. But like I said, it wasn't up to me. You know, I'm one of the guys.
Hey, man, you guys are just getting warmed up at the 1 hour mark, usually.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Man, we played Tipitina's one time. We played about 5 hours. We played till the sun came up. Yeah. In New Orleans, you know. People still talk about that show. And, you know, we used to play a long time. So our fans are kind of spoiled. So if we got an hour to do, George is good. He'll chop up the show and pick and choose what he wants to do. And, you know, we'll get it in. If we do an hour, we'll do it. But the fans probably won't like it as much because we don't get to stretch on the songs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He'll do a snippet of a song and then he'll stop and then he'll go into something else, do a snippet, stop, you know. Yeah.
Well, that show definitely cut into your playing time personally. I know you do a lot more usually on the shows than that one.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I try to, you know, just do what I can to make the show go.
Yeah. Soldier for the Funk Army, man.
Yes, sir.
What would you say is George Clinton's greatest talent?
The way he sees his vision, the way he puts things together. See, and what's so amazing about him is he doesn't play an instrument at all, but he has great ears. Like he'll sing a line and he'll say, play that. Or either, you know, the people will come up with some tracks and then he'll put a concept on top of it. He's fantastic when it comes to putting together a project. you know, phenomenal for a guy that doesn't play anything. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just some gift he was born with, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Is it up to George whether you guys decide to throw in something new in the set, like, like you play the Goose or some other track that maybe you haven't played in a while, Funkadelic, whatever?
Well, he has the last word, but sometime he's on stage, and after we finish the song, we'll see him thinking, what am I going to do next? And then he'll call a song, or either somebody might play something and make him jump into it. Like Lodge, our bass player, he might break into Mr. Wiggles. So once he breaks into it, George will say, yeah, yeah. So then we do that. Or, somebody else might sing something or play something. And then he'll say, yeah, let's go into that. So, he's pretty versatile.
But like I remember, like when you guys added butt-to-butt resuscitation as like the opener, is that like something where he said, I want to get back and do that again? Or how's that kind of thing usually come about for this set list?
Well, it's just, his concept, what he would come up with, he would just say, we ready to do this, let's go with it.
Did you guys rehearse it much?
Well, we rehearsed when we needed to. Like if we had to put something together special, we would do a rehearsal. He would tell us to listen to something or put it together. Like we had to do some stuff for the Grammys. We did a thing with the Red Hot Chili Peppers at the Grammys one year. And then one year we had to do the director of the Grammys. It was his idea to have all these different groups perform with the different groups. So we were performing with other groups, Robert Randolph and Earth, Wind and Fire and things of that sort. I didn't necessarily like that production because I thought everybody should have performed their own music, a small segment at a time. It worked out, but it wasn't what I would have done.
Yeah, they've been big on doing that kind of thing with the Grammys for several years now.
Yeah.
Is there any like TV appearance that like stands out to you that was like something funny happened or just was special for some reason?
Outstanding shows we did. I just remembered outstanding shows. We did some shows with David Letterman. David Letterman's show. P-Funk Horns performed on Arsenio's show, and then P-Funk performed on Arsenio Hall's show. We did different things. Those shows stuck out in my mind.
Yeah. You ever hear like something you played on the radio, and was that kind of a kick and cool when you first heard maybe a track that had you on it?
Oh yeah, a lot of stuff. A couple of P-Funk songs, and they even played the P-Funk live stuff, and then some Chuck Brown stuff. A lot of things make you say, "Oh wow, yeah." A lot of things, yeah.
So, is George gonna? I mean, at some point, George is gonna have to retire. I mean,
yeah. At some point.
Yeah.
Like he said, he was going to, then he changed his mind. But I don't really think he made a big public announcement. I'm back. But I think he should do it because people ask me. Some people still ask me, is he retiring? I thought he was retiring. No, he's back at it.
I feel like maybe that Lifetime Achievement Award kind of reinvigorated.
Oh yeah, that was a nice celebratory experience. Yeah, Snoop brought us on. It was interesting. It was quite an honor.
Quite an honor and quite about time, right?
Yeah, yeah, really. Well, you know how they do the funk. You know, it's different.
Did you ever think that it'd still be going these 40 years later?
Well, I just know he's tenacious with whatever he does, and he's had longevity. So when he's ready to stop, he'll just slide to the side, but he'll still probably be producing, because he's putting his, third generation P-Funk out there. He's putting them out there. So they're gonna be taking the baton will be passed.
Do you get down to Florida at all and do any recording still, or
Oh, they record all the time.
no?
They recording.
You.
Oh yeah, I'm working on a few things. Probably by the summertime I'll have something out. Something along the jazz funk kind of thing.
Under the Greg Thomas name?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because have you ever put one out on your name?
No,
I don't think so.
nope, not yet. But it's in the it's stirring in the pot. It's brewing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe with some P-Funk guests.
Oh, definitely, definitely, definitely. We're looking forward to that. It's coming up.
Yeah, definitely look forward to that. I know Benny had his, so
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Real excited about it.
Yeah, well, I'm excited too. So, do you want to play us any other couple of licks before we get on out of here?
What can I play? Make my funk the P-Funk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
love that.
yeah.
One of my all-time favorites for sure.
Yes, sir.
So, anything else you want to say to the fans?
I want to say, ever funkin' on. We're not gone anywhere. We're still here. Come check us out. You can look for us at georgeclinton.com. Be on the lookout for new tour dates.
Excellent. Greg, hey man, thank you so much for spending the time and sharing memories with us and being on the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
All right. Take good care.
Thank you. Peace.
Hey, back at Truth and Rhythm headquarters. Thank you for joining us on another magical ride with Truth and Rhythm. Whether you're watching or listening, as always, thank you so much for your continued interest and support. Be sure to subscribe. Go to YouTube. Go to the Funk and Stuff channel. That's where Truth and Rhythm lives and breathes and thrives. Also, goodies here like TIR Quick Takes. And if you subscribe, you know what? You get the show before anyone else. It's free. If you love jazz, funk, R&B, soul, you can't miss it. Pass it along. Tell a friend. Tell family. This audience is growing, and it is a beautiful thing, all coming together for the love of this great music. Also, if you can throw us a buck or two, we could use the support financially, keeping the lights on, keeping the servers going, all these expenses. If you can help support the program, whatever you can give, much appreciated. Go to the funkandstuff.net website, and on the right hand side of every page you just click and you can donate through PayPal, credit card, whatever. Very easy to do and so much appreciated. And if you do a sizable donation, I will mention you on the program. Also, drop me a line. Email me at scottg@funkandstuff.net. Let me know who else you'd like to see on the show, what you enjoy about the music. Let's just kibitz and talk about stuff, talk music. You'll find that I respond very quickly, and I much enjoy the rapport and the camaraderie and the interaction. Always remember, this is your show, The True Music Lover. So for now, that's all the time we have for this one. It's a wrap. As always, Scott Dr. GX Goldfine saying, keep on vibrating to the rhythm of the one.